Everybody ready? All right. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for taking the opportunity to come by, drive all up to Indian River County for our press conference. We believe that by being in front of the stories is the best way to do business. The story today revolves around Mitchell Martinez. Mitchell Martinez, just for your background, was arrested in April of 2013 on 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He was arrested back in April of 13 and was currently out on bond. On the 29th of this month, he entered the Indian River County Courthouse at 8:01 a.m. and at 9:01 a.m. he presented before the Honorable Judge Bob Pegg. Bob Pegg found him in violation of the terms and conditions of his probation by contacting a victim in that 2013 case via social media. Judge Pegg then revoked Mr. Martinez's bond, and he was remanded into the custody of Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Typical process is once a person off the street in street clothes is ordered to be taken into custody by the court, we then transport that person downstairs to our holding cell in the Indian River County Courthouse. At 11:17, Mr. Martinez, along with 7 other inmates, was loaded into a van, along with 1 female, which was placed in a separate transport vehicle because she is a female. Since Mr. Martinez was in street clothes, he was segregated from the other inmates who were wearing jumpsuits, and he was placed in a specific cell directly behind the driver of the transport van. Again, at 11:17 a.m., that van departed the Indian River County Courthouse and drove 3.7 miles to the Indian River County Jail. Approximately 11:25, the Indian River County transport had concluded inside the sally port of the van. The female inmate was taken out of the automobile that she was being transported in and entered into the booking area. And then the other inmates, the 7 plus Mr. Martinez, were escorted out of the van in 2. As the 7 were being escorted out, the deputies then drew their attention to Mr. Martinez, at which point they found him unresponsive, immediately began administering CPR in addition to the AED that was used to attempt to facilitate the medical condition of Mr. Martinez. Obviously, we have a nursing staff at the county jail. The nursing staff also responded, as well as and simultaneously did EMS. EMS arrived a very short time later, as their station isn't too far from us, from our station, and began their emergency care. Mr. Martinez was then transported to Indian River County Medical Center, where he remains today. Our deputies that consistently treated Mr. Martinez, not only there, but of course we do have deputies at the Indian River County Medical Center, at the Indian River Medical Center, beside Mr. Martinez, as he is currently an inmate in custody. Any questions?
Explain again, so there was, the deputies didn't hear any noise, didn't hear any,
No.
like when they say he was unresponsive, how
Right.
was he sitting in the seat? Was he slumped
Right.
over? Was he on the ground?
Right, so in your transport vans, if you can imagine a typical cargo van outfitted to transport prisoners, the back portion is open, so you can have, in this particular case, 7 inmates that were in their jumpsuits because they had came from the jail earlier in the day. And Mr. Martinez, since he came from the street, so to speak, into the court, he was wearing civilian attire. He'd been out on bond since April of 2013. And when the judge revoked his bond, then we took him into custody. So by placing him in a separate area, because if you have an inmate coming from the courthouse in civilian attire, place them in a separate area as not to commingle them with other inmates that have already been completely patted down and the like. He was directly behind the passenger seat. As safety precautions, we do have plexiglass keeping the inmate away from the driver in a separate unit. And that is where Mr. Martinez was discovered unresponsive. Immediately seeing that, we in fact, of course, went into emergency medical mode with the deputies, the transport deputy actually climbing into the van and pulling Mr. Martinez out into an open area where the CPR continued for some minutes until the fire rescue team arrived, and of course they continued that as well.
Is he dead? What's his status?
Our status is that we know of, he's still in ICU. We have been interacting with his family over the weekend, and since he is an inmate, we do have deputies in the room with him at the hospital.
When he was admitted to IRFC, they do a blood tox.
Mm-hmm.
What did it show?
We have no information on that. That has not been given to us. The toxicology report has not been given to us. We do know by viewing of the video, upon him entering the van, showed zero signs of distress when he was placed into that van at 11:17, and then the 3.7 mile ride to the county jail, where they arrived at 11:25, and then shortly after arrival did they discover him non-responsive.
Did the family give you any indication that he had a history of
No.
any type of medical problems, abuse, anything?
No, we haven't.
And there was no physical contact between Mr. Martinez and anyone else in those 8 minutes so far as you
Correct.
were aware?
He was segregated into a separate, if you will call it a cell, you could call it a cell within the van. There was absolutely no indications of anything unusual. There was very light traffic. There were no detours, no stops. In fact, that was an 8-minute ride, which is typical for Vero Beach at that hour of the day.
So what happens next?
What happens next is as of the 29th, his bond has been revoked. So he is an inmate of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office.
Do you have access then to his medical status and records?
We do not. If his condition changes, the Indian River County Medical Center will notify us. We have 2 deputies at his side, and obviously they would notify us as well.
My understanding is there were 2 long abrasions on his neck. Can you speak to that in any way?
Now, we have zero indications of that. We know that nothing happened abnormally in the transport. There's no signs or indicators of that. In fact, anytime we have a situation like this, we activate our detective unit as well as our crime scene unit just to make sure that those accusations are not true.
Okay, but you're saying there are no abrasions on his neck.
We know that when he was in our custody, no abrasions on his neck.
And it was all on video inside, so there's no chance he had any contact.
When he was placed into the transport van, and you'll see the video where he walks to the van and gets in the van, he's placed in a separate and distinct holding cell, and then for 8 minutes he's transported back. There was no other inmates that could touch him, no officers that could touch him. Nothing, absolutely nothing happened unusual on the way to the courthouse, or I'm sorry, on the way to the jail, and we have no indicators that he tried to self-inflict any type of harm to himself.
Sheriff, is anyone making any allegations of abuse?
Uh,
You felt the need to refute?
As with anything, particularly with social media, we hear a variety of things. We simply follow the facts. We know the facts in this case. We know that our deputies at the Indian River County Sheriff's Office acted properly. We know that they gave the aid that would be expected, not only continuous CPR, but the use of an AED and our nursing staff. This is an unfortunate situation, and we're hoping for the best.
So what are they alleging happened? That
I'm not certain on exactly what they're alleging.
So we don't, are you guys in contact? You can't find out what is, like, the hospital might have an explanation, we just don't know yet, or?
Perhaps. We're not certain on that. This was Friday morning, and as we continue our investigation to what our personnel were involved in, we can't speak upon any type of toxicology, any of that, because we don't know. We simply do not know those things.
So when Mr. Martinez is in that separate area.
Mhm.
Would there be a way for him to contact someone if he felt like he was in distress? Would he have been able to bang on the plexiglass and that would have gotten someone's attention, or?
Perhaps he could have. Part of our investigation also will be to interview every inmate that was in that transport van in case they heard or saw anything, and that will all be included in our investigative report as well.
Are you saying you all haven't interviewed the 7 who are in the van with him at the time, or?
We haven't completed all of them. We do have some statements from some inmates that were there that indicate nothing unusual happened, that they didn't, that there was no involvement from law enforcement that could have harmed Mr. Martinez.
And he's 35 years old?
I believe so.
What do you know about the aggravated assault case? I guess you said that was 2 years ago, 2013?
Yes, that was April of 2013. He had been out on bond, is our understanding, since then, and the conditions were not to have contact with that particular victim. Apparently, there was contact made with that victim, which resulted in him showing up on 529 in front of Judge Pegg. Once Judge Pegg understood that evidence is when his bond was revoked, and anytime someone out on bond violates those conditions and their bond is revoked, then they are remanded back to the sheriff.
You ever had a case like this before?
In the last decade, we have not had any in-custody deaths, i.e. suicides. We have had 3 in the last 10 years as far as physical ailments, elderly condition, heart attacks, the like. So there's been 3 of those in the last decade, but there has not been any self-inflicted line of custody deaths.
So, I mean, do we know it wasn't a heart attack? Do we know it wasn't a stroke?
We simply don't know that. I will tell you that we process over 6,000 inmates a year at the Indian River County Jail. We make thousands of transports, whether out of county or within the county, every year, and we're somewhat proud of the track record that we have, given the volatile condition that some of these could have.
And is it a regular transport van? It's just like an Astro van that?
This is a commercial maxi van. We'll be welcome to give you some photographs of that. You'll be welcome to inspect that. Again, Friday, our crime scene processed that as to make sure that this is exactly what happened, and this is exactly what happened. It's an unfortunate incident where an inmate in transport had some type of medical distress. That's exactly what happened.
Have you just not followed up with Indian River Medical Center to get information on Mr. Martinez's case, or are they stonewalling you in some respect?
No. Absolutely not. No stonewalling, but there's certain information that they're just simply not going to release to us.
Why not?
My guess is the HIPAA sanctions. It's not like they're going to.
But this is part of an investigation.
It is. However, we have not been privileged to any information. It's all speculation, and we're not in the speculating business. We're in the fact business.
And again, just to go back one more time, your detectives don't believe there were any abrasions on Mr. Martinez's neck?
Our personnel that were at the scene in the Sally Port and that were administering the CPR as well as the AED have no indicators that there were any type of marks on his neck.
Could there be bruising on his body just based from the CPR and medical care?
I'm not certain about that, but I wouldn't suspect around the neck.
And you've obviously talked to the transport person and everyone involved in the case?
We have.
And they have told you?
Exactly the same. Recall that our practice also is to have you may call it a chase car. There was another sheriff's office car behind the transport van, directly behind it. That particular deputy was transporting a singular female, and that transportation happened. In fact, when you see the video, you'll see the van and the car arrive at the same time.
So you're confident that your guys followed SOP?
I am. I'm confident that the deputies at the Indian River County Sheriff's Office did everything that they could to save Mr. Mitchell from any continued distress, and I think that they did a great job by administering everything that they could. Obviously, our medical staff was there as well. We have an outstanding team of nurses in our jail, and in concert with the Indian River Fire Rescue that showed up in very short order to take over that particular process. Thank you for your time. We will get that information to you, the videos that you need and any stills. We do have a photo of Mr. Martinez that we will be releasing. His most recent photo, of course, was in 2013, and we'll have that for you as well.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you very much.